Tavanaya. Tato I Tato Kato. Due Taiki. And welcome everybody. Welcome to the people who have come for public participation. I have to tell you that there are toilets there if you wish to use them. If there is an emergency, you may go out that door, but you can also go out this one here. If there's an earthquake, you may reside under the tables until it's finished, if you so wish. Yeah. Apologies, we have apologies from
The Mayor
And the mayor.
and the mayor. Are there any conflicts of interest? Agenda? No. Are there any acknowledgements and tributes?
Yes. Yes, just like to pay tribute to Marshall Drury, who passed away
Today.
days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a farm out on Punatahi and yeah.
So it brings us to public participation. Is there any order on which going?
We had Louise
Louise
listed we're already way ahead of time, so.
Okay, welcome Louise. Sorry?
Yes, so this isn't, sorry, through you, Chair, this isn't being live streamed at the moment, but it's being recorded and will be posted onto YouTube in due course.
So you have 5 minutes to enlighten us. Exactly.
Thank you. Now, imagine all of you, and I'm pleased to see the full councillors and the chief executive leader. Imagine that you have a once in a lifetime, once in a generation opportunity to make a significant difference to the roading, the quality of our roads in the district, a once in a lifetime opportunity. Because that's exactly the position that council find themselves in at present. Over the last few years, council has been borrowing for investment in roading. And its long-term plan, there is significant millions and millions of dollars are going to be borrowed to improve the roading in the district. Now, know that council and the infrastructure committee will be fully across this issue. The question that I have, how are they identifying the roads? And there'll be some technical stuff going on there. And so we need to look at the quality or the integrity of the information in that database. But we also know that the council and the rural and coastal advisory group will be identifying roads based upon their own experience. My question for the Martinborough Community Board, are you asking what urban roads in Martinborough are worthy of this once in a generation? Money will be borrowed. Don't identify roads that are worthy of investment. We may well miss the golden opportunity. Now here, it so happens that I am doing a submission on what I believe to be the busiest road in the district. Then you take out State Highway 53, which we don't pave now, and the square, which we'll all acknowledge is now in immaculate condition. So I've got official information that question, but I suspect that this road that I'm about to tell you about is the busiest local road in the district. Any idea what that road is?
Guessing it's Jellicoe.
You're guessing that Jellicoe is part of it.
And
Jellicoe, Dublin, Princess is the north-south access. It's the gateway to the south. It is also the gateway to the north for all of the industry and rural activity and lifestyle properties that we have down south. Now, I have a technical person who has done some random testing, and numbers are coming out, 15% are likely to be heavy transport. And the numbers are far and away greater on a daily basis than any information I have seen in council records. So to give you an example, Dublin Street 3 years ago was identified as a road needing improvement. But how do we identify what needs improvement? How do you find out what needs improvement? Because we know social media and going to the press gets interest and gets investment. That's what we know historically happens. Now, that's not my style, but if the community board wants to say, what information do you need that this is a major, major problem? A major noise problem. It's also for some residents, a major vibration problem. So that's the question you guys should be asking. Once in a lifetime opportunity, what roads need investment? And I'm saying I think that's the busiest road. It's actually also the road in the poorest condition. And next month you'll see what contributes to that. So if that's the road, what I would really like you guys to do is think about going to the refuse station south, or going south, and then as you come in north and hit town, and observe your speed, and then if you slow down to 50 k's, look at the traffic back up behind you. Yeah. So there's a speed issue. Then if you were to count the number of metal service covers between Jellicoe Street and the corner of Dublin Street, 18. And they lie under the wheels of wide axle vehicles. So every trailer and every heavy vehicle and every ute that strays from the centre line will hit those potholes. I haven't counted the potholes. I've only counted the metal service covers. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to travel along those roads, Jellicoe, Dublin, Princess, and observe the condition, because you might agree with me, that is where they're investment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions specifically?
Just a quick one. Are you aware of where the growth of Martinborough is going building wise?
South.
That way?
Yeah,
Yeah, so it is.
that's why I think if we did up-to-date investigations, you know, I can tell you that our data is not perfect, but it's been cross-referenced, 2 sources of data cross-referenced and then peered back, is telling us 2,200 vehicles a day this month. And that's without holiday traffic. That's without people going to the dump 3 times a week, without any construction activity at the moment. You imagine what it's like in summer when there's construction activity. And next month, you're going to hear the sob stories. Today, I'm just giving you the facts. I would like to know, do you want a petition? Do you want a community survey? What is it that will get your attention?
Thanks, Louise, through you, Chair. So Louise, you said that at the moment, last month, there's been 2,200 vehicles per day travelling along Jellicoe Street?
Yeah.
Okay, so the last traffic count, which was done in 2022 on Dublin Street, was
Also in June.
1,056. So that was, yeah,
So you
it'll be interesting to see.
So you want to take the one that was taken to Jellicoe Street at about the same time. There was one, and it reported exactly the same figure of around 1,000.
Yeah.
But if that's, I don't know, I can tell you that there's, you need to talk to the RAM people and understand how it moves. Because I think you will find that we do not know how freight moves in this area. There's no telemetry, no LTSA data. We do the odd tubular, but if you're not extrapolating that out and you've got no information to extrapolate it out, because if you take it in June, after a storm and the bridge is closed, it gives you 1,000 and you've got no other data to extrapolate it out to a national. Whereas I've got actual data taken from radar, from cross-reference with camera, 10 years back, to give you a fairly accurate count, 18,000 closed days, which is 2,200 a day. And with 15% of that being heavy transport. However, that number's dodgy. It's harder to test the
Yeah.
electric vehicle.
And my second question, the heavy traffic bypass has been, in the past, there was a bylaw to state that it was a heavy traffic bypass. Has that bylaw lapsed?
I have a question under the Official Information Act on that question, but as a matter of principle, I would say, living on that heavy traffic route, I'm not prepared to say drive somewhere else. I don't think you can say, and that's what the Dublin Street residents said that time ago. They said, we don't care, route around the other roads. That's not the solution. I've got low-cost solutions, I've got high-cost solutions, but moving the problem to another resident is not a solution.
No. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. I don't thank you for your.
By the way, I will never say it's the number one priority. Want it to be identified.
Thank you, Louise.
We will.
That's right, and that's your decision, not mine.
Okay. Now. So, Andrea, that's
Good
you.
evening, everyone. I'm Andrea Goodwin. I've been going to Martinborough for 36 years and a permanent resident for 14, so I consider myself pretty local. I've had a dog every year that I've been here, not always the same one, but I do love dogs. Now, we've got a situation here in Martinborough where we've been very fortunate to be able to use the Palliser Estate Vineyard at certain times of the day to walk our dogs. This benefits not only the animals that we're walking, it also is a nice benefit for us humans that enjoy fresh air and a bit of exercise. Council has given us a very small dog park between Ferry Road and Wells Street. Without sounding too critical, it's inadequate. It's very small. Times it floods, so getting to the park can be difficult at times. If you get more than about 4 or 5 dogs there, it's a bit heavy, to say the least. And yeah, a bit dangerous. So I feel as though I can identify the problem is that we need something better. There are towns around us that have, this area of New Zealand has really good dog walking parks that are off lead. So how do we find a solution for that? Well, Anne-Marie and I have worked together on this and we've come up with a few ideas that put out with maps. We feel that if we could create a park that was firstly safe for walkers and dogs, away from stock, don't want to upset the farm animals, away from roads and transport, also something that provided interesting stimulation for both animals and walkers, something that could grow perhaps to an art park, sculpture park, education, we also showing that way. You could include public buildings, dog in areas as well. As far as community security goes, just between us, we've got approximately 50 names of people that have agreed that they would like to see something established here. And they are willing to help. We do not want to presume that council would be up for a cost. We would fundraise, we would ask for sponsorship. And we would be prepared to do a lot of the work ourselves. And then we'd also form people like the Lions, the Rotary, perhaps that would help. This year, etc. So, yeah, I think it's important to establish the fact that we're not asking the council for money or the ratepayers for money. We are wanting that.
Very first, want to do. So, sorry, my name is Emily. I have got access to being a real estate agent who owns land. So we just took a very holistic point of view at this point before we asked for some sort of council help. And so I just threw in South Byron to what you own, what do we own, and just pulled up a few different ideas. And then we talked to various people who own public people who own land as well. And what I did, I just pulled that off. So could be solutions, but they're at the very early phase. We know a couple of the farmers are very open to discussion, not necessarily on letting us talk about dogs here, but discussion. So when you go through what we've put there, in various orders as you come in through Pontartan Bridge, there's a farmer on the left on St. John's, right next to the river. He's such a nice person. Well, would you let us use some of that land? But we don't want to approach without permission. As you come into Martinborough on the main highway 53, you've got the land on the left, just as you come up the rise where the signs are, which Holtec used to use the car park, and that bit of land there. So that's public, private land, narrowly. But they are very much into community. Would that be a good place? There's a car park on the other side of the road. The suburbs and in clouds, less land, the chap we've spoken to. He's very happy to allow from where the truck stop was, the old truck stop for people that have been around a while. There is a walkway, but there would need to be dogs on the edge because in fairness, there's stock, so you don't want to, but there could be another solution there. He's open to it. He only has stock on the stock bank. Might be anyway. And we do know another group are working on that for a walking trail, and the Smiths further around are very keen, but again, on land. And that's fair enough, because people are not always responsible. We understand that. Then we went into Payne Farm. So Payne Farm, as you go into it, on the left, is one paddock that's always just got sheep in it, and it's very well fenced. Maybe that's a solution. We see the council of Board that's 75 acres, which has got an allocation of use already. I know you're working on it, but a couple of acres down there. Food ponds, as we call it, back of food ponds. There's we do spray on it currently once everything's it's built. Maybe that access spray down there is a good idea. So the other thing is that just for the search, we kind of came up with that you could look at. The Star have given us an opportunity that if we want to put out a request from farmers, is there anything else available? Are very happy to replace. So yeah, it's early steps, and we've only just touched the surface of do we want to use it. We didn't go out always. This was just walking when we walk our dogs. We were very keen. A lot of people go, oh, let's go to the park. We know that's an option, so that's not part of the suggestion, and have to be very involved. It's a children's park. We're very aware of that. But it'd be nice if we could develop something for more than just a dog park. Other people right involved. We did speak to Mark. Is it Mark? Is that it? Mark, Mark, and we know they've got a brief from you on road and safety. So we felt we were probably not part of that discussion after talking to a couple of people here, and that's why we went. Thank you.
So we have been thinking about this as well, of course. My question is, how big an area do you actually think is desirable for this purpose?
I think, so the size of Constantine Park's about 5 hectares. And that allows, because you've got to allow dogs that aren't as sociable to get away from other dogs. So you kind of got to have the width and the length. The throwing the ball and like, so probably four hectares. Ish. But, you know, that's pretty, please.
How big is the one in Greytown?
Greytown is quite, I go over it quite a bit because I walked around the trail. It's
I'd have to look it up,
quite,
true.
quite huge.
I think that's probably about 3 or 4. Yeah, I'd have to look it up. Sorry, I didn't look it up.
Okay. It's quite a good area because it has different kind of spaces within it where different people with dogs could play. But anyway, you're saying around 4 hectares?
Well, I think that's optimum. It would be lovely because it means you can have a nice walk around. Dogs, if you keep it, you can stick some rules in there that people stick more plot-wise and
Making it
and making it interesting.
Do you think there's enough interest that you could actually raise the money to purchase an area like that?
Well, we haven't done anything. So you were pleased to probably find out how many dogs there are here. We don't know that number truly, but we just know regular. I walk twice a day at least for an hour, hour and a half, go different directions. I bang into a good 50, 60 people all the time.
We could ask the council how many dogs are registered.
Yeah, well, you know that answer pretty easy to ask that question. The people we deal with are pretty keen to help in some way.
I think, just from personal experience, the dog park I've been to, they have several routes within, it's not just like walking around a conference or something, it's like there's different routes and there might be lots of trees. So you kind of got a beautiful area to walk in as well for you as much as your dog, and it attracts people to it. You might have a picnic area or something there as well. You can make them as interesting and multi-purposeful as you want, and that would depend on size.
Have you thought about actually setting up there's just the two of you at the moment?
Yes.
Do you have?
Came along.
Yes, but potentially are there a number of you that are interested in coming together and actually working on this as a project?
I think yes, we could. Yeah.
I think it's just really finding out if the council would be interested to follow up on and give us any advice or help that, you know, is available.
Well, I don't think the council has asked that question officially yet, so that is something we could follow up.
Instead of starting the process by bringing it to the table here.
Yeah.
Question?
We didn't approach the owners, private owners, because we felt we needed to talk to you first, because you didn't want to overstep the house.
Question?
I'm just wondering, sort of along the river at the moment, like where the track goes down and like you see lots of people down there with their dogs. Is that allowed? Is that a place where you can go with your dog? Because everyone seems to.
Where are you?
Oh, come on, it's not contained.
No, do you mean
It's
like-
just play.
By the way.
Yeah. So the bridge is really good when it's not flooded and when it's not
That's not-
contaminated. And the swap path on the left going down and on the right, the electric fences and that. So there's a certain amount of distance you can't go here.
My dog tends to prefer contaminated water to clean.
Have you got, yeah.
Rob?
Thank you for both coming along and thank you for writing to us. I did receive the letter. And as a dog owner, I'm always interested in opportunities for off-leash facilities. And I do make use of the existing dog park. It's a broader question here, though. You mentioned the inadequacy of it. I do agree. When you get a lot of dogs there, it's a bit fraught. But you also mentioned it is dangerous as well. And irrespective of where the dog park is, off lead, it can always be dangerous. And we've seen that more recently on Te Wharenigau and also the rail trail, where there have been a number of attacks by big dogs off leads. And also part of the reason for the Palliser estate being closed, because dogs were harassing sheep that were off lead. So my question is, if you were able to bring fruition to this wonderful idea, how are you going to go about educating and policing?
A lot of self-policing. So in Palliser, there was a lot of self-policing. And I could categorically tell you exactly which dogs were the dog chasers and the owners. Now, without authority to get them out of here, that wouldn't have happened. So it wouldn't have happened categorically, because you need to keep your dog near you. You just don't let them just go where they want. You pick them up near the gate, which is what was happening. So there can be a lot of self-management within the group, and you make it very, it used to work well until the last year.
So I'm wondering, Chair, if, in addition to thinking about this idea, you not also need to think about that other particular issue and how we could bring some enforcement around it or some sort of, qualifications.
If people can keep their dogs closer to them within 10 or 15 metres and actually had a lead on them, and you kept you kept going either one way or the other.
Yeah.
So you're not crossing each other's paths all the time. That alone would have stopped any of this problem that they had with the stock. Letting a dog just run, any dog run without an owner being checked, if they're not used to stock, they're going to do something. And that's what happened.
Well, the farm was entitled to destroy the dog anyway. It's fine, stop it, no matter where it is.
And we quite agree. We do know who it was. When I said it was dangerous, it's actually humans that have hurt, as in slipping down the ditches to try and retrieve and so forth.
Okay.
Apart from a few dog fights.
Just to note, Chair, that under the MARG consideration, obviously biking and walking trails, some of it crosses over in this area, so there is opportunity.
Yeah, we did speak to Prue, and she said that she was already looking for someone in the likes of a walking trail or bike trail, and she said that dogs on a lead wouldn't have been a problem, but that's unofficial, it was more a trail for walkers than
A lot of the trails had dogs on a lead. And that may well happen with the ones we're working on at the moment.
It'd be lovely if it was a loop.
Yes. Are there any more questions? Okay.
Thank you.
So yes, thank you for coming along. We'll talk about that, and I think we'll probably come back to you and discuss with you what possible next steps are we see, and you can discuss with us what possible next steps there are that you see. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Shall we go?
Oh,
Action.
Well, it says actions from public participation.
Folks.
Thank you. Yeah, Maureen.
And one of the things we could do is we could ask council any areas or particular areas that are potentially available for this activity.
Mm.
Would that be a useful thing to do?
It would be. I think part of an additional issue is that while there are large pieces of land, for example, around the rugby grounds and that, it would require fencing of some sort, which comes as a cost. So that's what would have to be taken into consideration.
Go back to that.
But James, it's certainly, worth asking the question.
Well, shall we ask the question?
Yeah.
Is there anything else that that we could do immediately that would be useful? Okay. So we'll do that first, and then we'll go back and talk with them. We could go back to 1927 when the council was offered the land on the left-hand side of the Martinborough Bridge on the far side as a recreation park. This didn't happen. I think it was swapped for land on the other side, which is actually St John's Way, which I'm not sure what the official designation land is now, or whether it's all completely privately owned. But
Bit nice walk.
You're talking about the strip sort of between the river and St John's Way.
up
The river's
that area.
jurisdiction of Greater Wellington.
Yeah, no, but I don't think it's the river area. But anyway, it'll be interesting to review that.
Yep.
And to review any other possibilities that it might be. Clearly, the wastewater area is and the park and the paths around that is another potential, but the trail may cross over on that as well.
Yeah, I think the other problem with that is, again, because the wastewater treatment processes and the ponds, etc., are under the authority of Wellington, their testing of it, I think, pinched having dogs.
Testing.
They would argue that, dogs are potential pollutants for all their tests they have to do.
The Greater Wellington, the people, they're not opposed to walking trails in there.
I think it depends. It's a
Well,
limited area that where the new part is.
yeah.
For that.
I mean, it's
And there's pretty strict designation already over it, regarding access by two-legged animals. Yep. Yep.
Okay, shall we move on? Well, before we do so, what about any actions from Louise's submission?
I just want to note that it's been carefully considered within the MARG's remit, particularly what might be other potential options for the bypass for that, if there are options for that. I think Ruamahanga Road, under its plans, does have into consideration the upgrades of those particular roads. The noise is an issue which we do acknowledge for that.
So in terms of actions, Rob,
It's already under action.
under action,
Of the Martinborough access. And they will make recommendations
Regards to the location of the bypass.
with regards to the location of the bypass and the maintenance of that particular roads. And they will make recommendations probably towards the end of August, early September, which will then be considered by council for incorporated into the long-term plan.
Excuse me, Chair. Janice, will there be an opportunity to get an updated traffic count for those roads?
Quite a jump.
Sorry?
It was quite a jump.
It was doubled.
Doubled here, which is
Yeah, quite a jump.
all the log trucks to come through that last one.
You said the last one was
2022.
Mm.
And that's
Possibly the time the bridge shuts.
probably kicked off after the discussion started with the group of residents in Dublin Street, as well as part of those discussions, the residents. Deputy Mayor and the Mayor at the time, yeah, some progress started to be made, but possibly not as much progress as what the residents were asking for.
Through you, Chair, just a matter of formality and teaching and training. For the apologies that were accepted, discussed earlier, could we get a mover and a seconder to Aidan and Chris?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any urgent business? Mhm. All right. Number 8. Confirmation of the minutes. People have read the minutes.
Yep.
Are there any discussion, hearings, matters arising? So I'll recommend that the minutes of the Martinborough Community Board meeting held on the 28th of April 26 are confirmed as a true and correct record.
Mover and
Mover.
seconder.
Well, yours.
I'll second it.
Anna, perfect.
Any matters arising from those? The main business of that meeting was the applications for grants, and everybody has not only been informed, but not everybody has picked their money up yet, have they?
Saw that.
I think everybody knows what they were awarded, and all letters have gone out to everybody. Okay. Information number 10, information reports from the Chief Executive and staff. So this is the Martinborough Community Development Fund Policies and Projects Information Report. Leanie, you're the author.
So were there any questions? I can provide a brief overview. So essentially this report was to inform the members of the board around the specific development funds related to the Martinborough Community Board and residents. That includes the historically the Payne Farm Fund, the Waihinga Reserve Trust Fund, and the Martinborough Swimming Pool Fund. We've also given a baseline of a few budget items there. Typically you would receive an income and expenditure report, but as the annual plan is yet to be adopted by council, we thought it would be best to hold that report and give you a full budget that's accurate as of that council meeting Thursday later this week, I think it is. We included the brief correspondence from the public members that spoke to the off-leash dog park in this report as well, because that might be a matter that needs funding support or community development support in the future. And correspondence from our Parks and Recreation lead advisor, who's currently in Italy at the moment. She provided some update towards the Waihinga Reserve Fund, but was unable to provide a full Parks and Recreation report at this time.
Lena, can you just explain to the board how the current fund balance, Payne Fund, what it's made up of?
Sure. So the Payne Farm Fund is essentially a fund that's established from Payne Estate. We've included in this report an appendices, which is the the grants policy, which includes a brief outline of the grant program. Historically, the fund was around anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 annually, based on an amount that was available to the board and council to consider. The Payne Farm policy is currently under review, and Janice may be able to speak to that in a bit more detail. However, the fund balance of that from our accounts team was $270,012.
That's an accumulated amount over a number of years. So we haven't actually, potentially haven't been able to allocate the money.
Historically,
Available on a yearly basis.
So the last calendar year, the last community board, they allocated 50,000 and did a funding round last year prior to the election, and contributed 50,000 from the Payne Farm account to community organisations. They did that the previous year as well. The reason it was $250,000 was because under the policy at the time, community board could allocate for a maximum of 50,000. If they didn't allocate more than 50,000, it had to go to council for approval under the annual plan or the long-term plan to allocate more than 50,000 to in the grant funding. But as with the legal advice and the situation with Payne Farm becoming more clearer over time, and with the Payne Farm policy no doubt going to be under review. Be interesting to see where that goes going forward.
I could add to that. In the past, there's been a delegation to the Martinborough Community Board relating to Payne Farm. The advice that we've had so far from Simpson Grayson is that that was incorrect, because the council are the trustees, not the community board. So the Payne Farm policy has to be rewritten to reflect that, and then the council will have to determine funds to be allocated, then delegate to the community board to open the grant and receive the applications and make recommendations to council. The governing council can grant the funds.
Well, I think I think we understand that is the process that is.
So that's quite a shift from where things have been in the past.
So from the community board's point of view, we're interested in how much money there is in the fund in total, and it's obviously $270,000. Will we have any input into the determination of the policy? I mean, when it's written, will we be able to speak to it?
We haven't even got pen and paper, it's the next thing we've got to do.
I know, but I mean, it will appear at some point in time. I think we would like to be consulted on it in terms of how it's put together. I think also we need to have a clear understanding of the timelines and the amounts of money that we're liable to grant, so that we can actually, advertise, plan ahead, carry them out within in a proper time, rather than it sort of suddenly being there and then sort of trying to get rid of it in a sense, rather than planning it forward.
Anything that you do around the paying state fund will be timed out the same way as your grant allocation is. You've got till 30 June to do that, because it's a budget that rolls over annually. Payne Farm doesn't operate that way. You could do, council chose to have two funding rounds in 1 year, they could do that. It's not bound the same way, but the fund balance is likely to change towards the end of June anyway. The accounts down and the interest calculations through.
Right. It'll go up.
It is held on trust, so there's no interest.
The Payne Farm account is the only reserve fund or trust fund in council holds. there's no other fund that council holds trust or reserved cash source.
We've also, I don't know whether we've got property tenanted yet, so there could be a dip in income for a while until we get tenants back in.
Yeah.
And of course, that's something else that the council could have a conversation about, because the management of the property is not necessarily the management of the trust. There could be delegations back to the board to manage and or to be have awareness of the letting and that kind of stuff, but you can't do the grants, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think it's like, if the community board has a great idea that can monetize and make this fund work for the purposes of the children and work, then everyone's open to ideas to have it work. So there's nothing stopping council or the community board coming up with something that actually is great moving forward. I think, you know, the moment you're just trying to rent the properties, like that's the best option at the moment. There may be something better. We've got to have a financial diligence on it, and it has to meet the purposes of what the trust was set up for.
Yeah, because I think we do see that the general management of Payne Farm in terms of the way in which it's operated or developed is something that the board can have an interest in. And we do. It doesn't necessarily mean that we want to rush in there and change it right this minute. But the second part is actually just to do with the finances and being able to manage that money in the best way possible for the benefit of the community. Yeah, and I see that as that's somewhat separate from the other first part. Yeah.
And just through you, Chair, we have received inquiries around the fund. I think the community is used to the fund being open around July, so they are waiting for some correspondence.
When was it usually done?
It's usually, last year it opened in July, and the same the prior year. So last year it was 50,000 and it opened around July. And then the board met, I think it was in the August or September meeting, to decide on those grants. And the year before that was similar, but I think they only allocated 30,000 that year.
That's the only two grant funds from Payne Estate that have occurred in the last probably 6.5 years.
Yeah, right.
Because from 2019 to 24, board was focused on maintaining and improving buildings, the house and the cottage, so that the income be get greater income from what was been received previously. The work was carried, so there was a huge amount of work carried out to maintain and bring those properties up, those buildings up to standard those years.
Yeah,
Sorry?
Yeah, it didn't work that well. I think the rent has been increased by quite a lot.
Yes, yes. I mean, when Mel and I first came onto the community board, both properties, the homestead and the cottage, was being rented to one person for something like, I don't know, wondering $150 or $250 a week, and then those people were subletting rooms out for another $50 or $75 a week to, boost their income. And community board or the Payne Farm account was only receiving, $150 or $200, that sort of thing.
So when will the grant money be allocated?
Well, will it be up until, will be once the Payne Farm policy is, and then that will give us an indication of the process going forward.
So it won't be till August, September?
No,
When do you think it will be?
depends on the resources to actually do it. We've got a lot of additional amount of staff roles at the moment, so let's see if I think of the table of it and then we could have an agreement.
Will you give us a date?
Sorry?
Will you give us a date?
No.
Well, we can't get a,
Right now, in 35 working days to get an application in, I'll vote it so there by then.
Through you, Chair, it's quite complex because trust and bequest law is quite complex. So the policy needs to be reviewed legally with that lens as well, not just your typical legal lens. Because a bequest is a binding donation agreement. As council, as the trustees, they're bound to those decisions that they make under the trust funds.
You can get it right this time.
But when we do have a date, we can
So many years.
Well, when the community asks when the paint fund will be,
All that could be messaged out is that the policy has been reviewed, and as soon as the policy has been drafted by council staff and then perhaps reviewed by the community board and councillors, it will be set in place, and we can share that news with the community.
that's very true, eh? And that,
Explain it. Just put it out to people and explain rather than just saying, I don't know.
But that's the action through you, Chair, that we can provide, and we can get Janice and councillors to look over it if the board needs a response in passing, because I imagine you'll get some from the school and the squash club and the rugby club. So that's something we can add as action.
Chair, just a thought on the properties on Platinum Farm. Through Councillor Archer. Winemakers have a sort of like a resident, winemaker in residence or scheme or something like that, promoting a winemaker to visit the region.
We have, you know, in harvest, we have lots of winemakers coming, actually through harvest, we have a lot of them coming here and staying in various places. So that's.
Just wondering if there's an option to
No,
use it in another way, like other small places have artists in residence accommodation or
Yes.
whatever.
Nice to
like that. Yeah, we-
more benefit for the community.
But then if-
Not only just money, you know, just like
But you've got to find someone to sponsor the money for the accommodation.
You've got to make sure that that's the best income choice for the trust,
Yes.
because whilst it's good for the community, it may not be the most suitable way of generating income, because that's what the trust requires council to have their rights.
Yes, I'm just thinking of a way that the community board could consider a program whereby
like even like.
winemakers pay the contribution to the rent
community, maybe
to host
ideas.
a person for a year from a wine region offshore or something like that. It's just a thought.
Or dark sky.
Yeah.
Or
Or a dark sky.
or
Complements the harvest.
I suggested the members come to the consultation and add these ideas onto the board so that we have a wide range of options to consider.
right.
Can I raise another issue?
Yeah, why not?
Knew there was a reason why you're here, Rob.
Martinborough Swimming Pool Fund.
Well, we're going to get it.
Okay, that's what I want.
Where there's Waihinga, the Waihinga Reserve Fund, there is a question there, what the reserve fund is actually for. Because I see that $1,200 has been taken out of the fund and committed to fix up the wallpaper and that in the hall, which is a maintenance issue. Is it a Waihinga Reserve Fund issue?
Yes, it is. Sorry, that was actually made wallpaper for that wall. So it's not just a overlay from Brazil, that was done especially for the wall. And we are looking to preserve as much of it as we can and like frame it so that it stays. And I think that's what that's for.
But it's more like building maintenance.
But
By-
the museum
by-
is-
Because yeah, I mean, this fund has been set up. Money should be spent for improvements which benefits the community
No.
and the park.
It was left over
Which is
from
not-
this building.
Mhm.
And
So-
No, no.
there was
so-
external donation, I believe, as well as money from the
Right.
Hay Farm Estate and council.
The Waihinga Community Charitable Trust was established to seek funding to do this project. And when the trust wound themselves up, there was money still left in their fund, and so they donated those funds to council for the purposes of keeping it for Waihinga Centre. And that's what, you know, I don't know, well, I haven't seen it too. Can't recall what the terms were for those funds which to be
It's
used.
just ring fenced at the moment to the way.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's, yeah, if it was needed, but otherwise the money could have been allocated for improvement of the playground or just other things, but probably not just maintenance and wallpaper.
It's not, this is maintenance.
Sorry, through you.
This is a,
The Waihinga Reserve Fund was a separate charitable trust that was sort of supported by council. So the donations came for the purpose of the Waihinga Centre. It was the trustees that left the outstanding amount to council, which was for the purpose of the centre in its entirety. The resolution, however, that we're talking about was a recommendation from the board to allocate the remaining balance, if there were any, to the fencing. However, the fencing is not feasible, so that amount has been taken from the amount that was reserved, the 7,560,000, to include 1,200 towards tidying up the area, which is within the trust's remit or the intention of the initial donation. And there is now 6,363 remaining for the board to make a recommendation back to council.
Extended into the playground.
the total was actually around 10,000 last year. So I've got a question about, so $2,500 don't appear here. Do we know what they were used for?
We can follow that up. This was the amount that was shared from the finance team and with our Parks and Recreation advisor, who wasn't able to provide a full report because she's on leave. But we can look into that. Yeah.
Excuse me, Chair. Can I just ask through you, ask Lena, why, I mean, it says here, fencing is not feasible at the moment as the pharmacy has applied to extend the building. However, I understood that the fencing that was recommended was along the side street here and then around the rubbish bins towards the toilet, to stop children from running from playground here out onto the road, but towards the fire station and the square.
Sorry, through the chair, no, when we discussed this before, there was, there's a gap between the buildings that is quite easy for children to get out of sight with parents, and that's where the last community board asked us to put the fence.
Right, okay.
Was because it wasn't so much about running onto the road, it was about disappearing down an alleyway and nobody knowing they'd gone. And they wanted to fence it off on this side so that couldn't happen.
So otherwise that'll take cost $6,000 to do a piece like that. That's not.
Is a farm,
But that was what triggered the request.
right,
And then it was, the fencing was to be, make it as safe as possible, but that was, they have to have that part done.
do you think it would be an idea if we reviewed the utilisation of the money?
Yep.
And Janice, could I ask, is there any timeline for the pharmacy in terms of building there?
Oh, I didn't know we were doing it until I saw the reports.
Oh, all right. Do you know?
No, but I don't think anything was like decided about the fencing and where you
So should we just
go exactly? Yeah. So it was just, oh, we might fence there, right? And
shall we discuss it?
yeah,
Shall we discuss it in our informal meeting and review utilisation of that money? And now shall we move on to the Martinborough Swimming Pool Fund? And you had a question, well, did you have an issue?
I'd be interested in, because I know that fund would fully close. Has this been an interim fund?
No.
It was left over.
Yes.
Sorry, through you, Chair, it was a donation from the Martinborough Swimming Pool Club Incorporated Society. So under the Incorporated Societies Act, when you wind down as a organisation, you can either gift any monies pending to a like-for-like organisation or to another equivalent organisation that can support your vision or mission, which at the time was council as the managers of the swimming pool. And so that fund was left to council. Sometimes people leave assets to council, which isn't always well received because assets also mean large costs. So I think it was nice to receive some fund.
So just a question possibly for Janice. Things like the public toilets which are being constructed, the overall maintenance of the pool, the provision of a lifeguard through certain periods of time falls outside of the.
Yes.
Yeah. So this fund is primarily for what?
We're looking at.
What more can you add to the pool?
Floats and pool legal.
Equipment for children.
Accessories, those kind of things. It was to enhance the equipment that the children could use.
Slide.
Yeah, and it's like those kind of things.
But it was a slide, wasn't there? It's in past law.
Yeah, like a
Well,
little
the
kid.
vegetable.
It cost a blow up jumpy thing in the middle. So was it?
There used to be. It was a slide, but it deteriorated, so it's been parked somewhere and it's being disposed of.
Just the question, I suppose, it just seems to me that from a public benefit perspective, this remaining amount possibly is best invested in a sort of a long-term scheme of some sort, because that pool will fail at some point.
It's not very much money, though.
No.
But if you add to it a little bit here and there, because pools do fail.
Wouldn't that be covered by our depreciation?
Why can we, why is it not, not available for, it's not available for maintenance or for upgrades? I mean, for example, if you look at swimming pool, the biggest issue in that area at the moment is the lack of toilets, access to the pump track. And the toilets themselves are in the swimming pool complex.
I think it's,
Biggest issue at the moment is the toilets. You can't connect to the network.
I think it's because council has like a budget allocated to the 4 swimming pools around the district, right? And so they basically has to share the same amounts for Featherstone, Greyton and Martinborough, and this is a separate fund, is it correct?
But this is only for Martinborough.
Yes, this is right now, because James is asking why we can't use that money for maintenance or toilets, is because there's already money
Is there money
given
already allocated?
to the 3 pools. And so it's just complementary.
So, yeah, so this fund is complementary and it's only for use at the Martinborough swimming pool.
Yes.
You know, the maintenance and the upgrades of all the other 3 swimming pools across the district come under the
Another budgets.
budget, which is funded by.
But my question was, could it not be used to upgrade the toilets and to provide access out onto the pump track?
It goes under the maintenance
I
budget.
think that's already in hand under the council expense as well.
Yes.
The only thing I'm aware of that possibly requires funding, if you recall, Chris, there was interest in screening along the front.
Hedging at the front.
Hedging the front.
Well, the Considine Park user group is going to meet tomorrow afternoon, 4 o'clock. And that whole area is part of, in terms of planting. And
Yes, yeah,
general,
yeah.
recreational value in as a whole.
Mm.
So maybe some of that money could be used for that purpose in that area.
Developed ideas.
It's just for the pool, I believe. Janice?
And the pump track maintenance, the pump track plantings are not finished yet, but I presume that the money's been allocated for them. You know, the planting around the pump track itself.
No, it's just for the
Having planted quite a few of those plants, probably some of them died,
Yeah.
and they are being replanted and just waiting for the grass to grow above the weeds, essentially. But the problem is in front of where the fence is being built, there is an interest for hedging to make it look right.
Okay. Which is, so the pump track is completely separate to the swimming pool.
Yeah, no, I realise that, but the swimming pool, that area is still part of the park. It's still part of Constantine.
Yep. Yep.
I'm just saying.
The 14,000 from the swimming pool fund
Yes.
cannot be used. I don't think it should be used in front, in Constantine, in front of the pump track or.
I like the idea of sorry, Chair, I like the idea of the scholarship, the swimming lessons.
Yes.
And I think that's what the community board previously used some of the fund for, to help subsidise swimming lessons through, for pupils at primary school. What about, towards, and perhaps in the spring, in a few more months, do a funding round for the swimming pool fund and publicise it?
Yes, I think it's a good idea.
Yes, so through you, Chair, that's the recommendation. I think we didn't receive it. It's the same form that we received for our community board grants. However, none were received during April, which I think is kind of to be expected during the time of year. But if the board wanted to do a promotion and speak to, 2 or 3 scholarship recipients that were strong swimmers or something like that, something that we could support you in promoting. We could look at, what the community is thinking in terms of equipment that might be missing or might need updating. I know younger kids like to chew on floaty things and they don't last very long, and people whip each other with things and go missing. So I think it's something we want to consider.
So this, shall we move that as a
Least dog.
That's one. Thank you. We'll move it as a recommendation that we put forward another round.
Yeah.
In April of next year.
Sorry.
No, spring.
In spring.
Right.
Oh,
Ahead of summer.
Yeah.
Before the pool is open.
Right. I'm just coming back from last month, at Fitzroy, one of the little, it was the Aussie rules ground that is played on every weekend, but out of training and on the game, it is the off-leash dog park for all of Fitzroy. And so you have 50 dogs on this park going around, all fully fenced, and they pick everything up, they irrigate it, and then it's a fully active sports ground on the weekend.
Oh.
And that's full contact sport on top of it. Yeah, all that natural fertilizer.
Yeah, so I have, through you, Chair, I have James moving to receive the Martinborough Community Development Fund Policies and Projects Information Report and approve an appropriate funding round for the Martinborough Swimming Pool Fund in spring. So I get a second. Perfect. Thanks, Aidan.
moving on. That's the finances for the community book. Are there any questions or queries?
Through you, Chair, just note that we'll give you an updated finance report after the annual plan, but we have noticed through the community boards that the training budget hasn't been utilised. So there are LGNZ training opportunities for the board, and as newly elected board members, that might be something you want to investigate. There's a small budget there for you to consider.
Well, if anybody on the board is interested, let's put their hand up. Look at it. Nina and I went to one training day, didn't we? In the very beginning. Okay, noted. Community grants funding framework and policy. We've just moved that, haven't we?
Yes. So it's your report now.
Hmm?
Your report now.
We haven't been very busy. Okay. You will all have the chance to read it. Would you like me to talk to it, or shall we just raise questions? We did go through it very quickly. The Five Towns Trail meeting. So the update for that is that we have been invited, as a board member has been invited to be a member of Five Towns Trail Trust, which is good. The Five Towns Trail Trust is doing an economic analysis, and we've asked them that they include Martinborough, all the 4 proposed components that we've put up for trails in that economic analysis. Yeah, and we've established a Friends of the Martinborough Trail from the people that were present at the time and other people that have expressed interest. So that is just sort of kind of a newsletter update to keep people up to date, because we will want those people to assist us when we actually get into the voluntary labour aspect of it. And the next meeting is in July, early in July, and Joe Howes will come and talk to us, and he's going to talk about the east-west axis and coming up the possibly coming up the bank of the Rumahan. And the one following that in August will be about Martinborough to Greytown through Morrison's Bush. And we will have people there who've been involved in working that already. Okay. And now the second thing is the community board plan and the proposed consultation. Those dates are on. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't see them. It's the week before. Is it the 15th, 16th, 18th and 19th, I think. Will you correct that in your, so that you know?
16,
15, 16.
and 18.
So it's Wednesday, Thursday of that week, and it's Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
Now, Nana has done a lot of work on this and working with her. We sent you out the where we're up to in terms of the survey, and also so there's the survey which we're going to carry out. We're going to open it before the consultation week and carry it through the consultation week and stop it shortly after. And the consultation week is for the drop-ins, a drop-in session. So we've got boards like this. We've got these ones here we've earmarked, and we've got some more from Feston. So we will have stations around the room with the various areas that we'll be asking for feedback on. So some of them will just be yes, no questions. Some of them will be asking for, if you like, their comments and suggestions on sticker notes, which will basically go up on the boards so that everybody can see them.
So Chair, just for clarification, is the survey to inform a draft plan, or is the draft plan already been?
It is to provide information to the community board, which will help them to put together their 3-year plan, and which will also inform their provision of recommendations to the long term.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
So that is the process, and that's why we're doing it.
Like, could you Chair, press this question?
Good.
Oh, sorry, two questions. One, I was interested in who was on the board on the bikes.
Who was on the one?
On the board for the bikes for the cycleway. And my second question was I had a look at the survey yesterday and I put forward comments, which I shared, so could be later. But I think I feel there's a few crucial parts missing in the survey that if we're going to survey, we need to cover.
Well, one of them,
Did reply to you tonight? I don't know.
one of the main areas was the emergency management area. But we're meeting on Wednesday with Nigel as a board at 6 o'clock. And I think there is time to reflect after that, Chris, about how much more we add into it. Okay. There's nothing that stops us from having a board with questions specifically about emergency management preparedness in here. The drop-in sessions with the boards is really somewhat open slather in the sense that it's whatever is of interest around the various areas that we've identified, of which emergency management preparedness is one.
I think it's our core. Like it's one of our core principles as a community board. Like it's kind of one of our foundations that no one's doing but us. And I'm just raising it that if we're talking like this is the first time as a community board you're engaging with our community, I think it's really important to actually start that process because we want to engage with them to be able to collect data and do that in a nice way.
The hardest part, because what information will we be able to collect in this area?
That's why we need to start.
I don't know how many people will participate.
Oh, sorry, I think I disagree. I think this is your first community board touch point. I think it's a crucial part, and I'm just letting you know that I believe it should be included, and that's it.
I mean, it is there, as you say, as a minor component.
One bullet point.
We will review it.
I think it's such
But I think
work, emergency preparedness, it needs a specific work on that. Because if we want to understand what happens in the old wards and prepare people, like it's almost 4,000 people, a survey won't be enough.
You put more
We'll
effort
collect a few data, but
you put more effort into your bike ride trails than emergency response in this.
right, okay, well,
Nice to have.
that's noted. And I think shall we have this discussion after Wednesday as well?
Yeah, sure.
Because I think when we decide how we're actually going to go about talking to our community, which will become clearer from the Wednesday session, then that might shape up just how we want to ask the questions in the drop-in session.
Cool.
But it's fine, and it's a valid point. Do you have what was your first question? Oh, who were the people who were
On the bike board.
But didn't you get the news? Did you not get the Friends of the Trail newsletter?
God, maybe.
I think you did, and I think
Apologies, just keep this one.
if you didn't, I'll send them to you. We've got 14 people from sort of right across the community. And so it's really good. I think it'll be quite strong. I'll send you the names if you haven't got them. Okay. So might need a hand to pick up the boards from Featherston. Ross, you might give me a hand to.
Yep. When.
In a couple, not for in a couple of weeks' time.
Okay. Yep.
Through you, Chair. I'm in Featherston, so if you need, I can bring stuff to the office and.
Oh, but these are the. I want to be bringing them. I will stick them on the truck. Okay. The MARG group. So the MARG people will have board in here for when we have the drop-in sessions, and hopefully they will have some illustrations of stuff that they're not necessarily suggesting that it should look like this, but stuff about how it could, as I understand it. Anyway, that's being worked on. Now, the only other thing about the board, about the consultation, the drop-in sessions, is that I'd like to recommend that the board allocates a budget of $450 for the purpose of consultation costs from this financial year, from financial year 2026-27, pending annual plan adoption on the 25th of June 2026, and that's to pay for the Page and Star advertising it, basically. It's we booked a Page, which is about $150. Would anyone like to second that?
Yep.
Hmm?
That's
Thank Ross for second.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'll go for second.
And who moved it?
sorry.
So what else is of interest? I think the pedestrian safety crossing, the concerns with the pedestrian crossing on Jellicoe and across Dublin and across, what's the other one? Bennett Street
Yes.
is a major issue. Now the MARG has picked up on that for us, so I think we'll just wait and see what happens as a result.
I just asked them to make a relatively quick recommendation on that. Yep. I think that worked.
So again, the community liaison group, do we know who is on that?
It's the community liaison group. Aidan can tell us all the people that are on it.
All right.
Half the world is on it.
I was only there for half an hour.
Oh, were you? I was there.
That's a mandated, group, under the resource consent for wastewater treatment plants. And it's, in the past, it has been adjudicated by somebody who's been, I think, contracted by Wellington Water. They ran the meeting and adjudicated, I suppose.
He was a facilitator.
Sorry,
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And it's involves council staff, Greater Wellington, the regulatory guys who talk about the results and testing and that sort of thing. There was some confusion in the last meeting between Wellington Wastewater that everything's going great, and the regulatory guy that said, not really.
My expletives could be heard
Under your breath.
under my breath.
But under the,
And he was, James, there has to be a member of the, I think there's a requirement for a member of the community board.
The members are specified under the consent.
Yeah.
And the people who submitted, because it was a notified consent, so the submitters are on the CLG.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And my second question, I have a problem with the word pollution in that paragraph. I think we'd like to clarify what the problem is, and that's nitrogen content. And if there's anything else that's a problem, but pollution can be a lot worse than like heavy metals and radiation, and like it can be all sorts of things. But the biofilter is there to fix the nitrogen issue. And when that's done, we will meet consent when it works properly.
It's the minerals.
if the lagoon is working properly, then
Sorry, which lagoon?
there's the current lagoon.
Ponds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a facultative pond. It's supposed to operate like a facultative pond. But you're also going to build a bigger one, an overflow, aren't you, to hold
Not there. There's
further down.
land on the new 75 hectare block of land that council has purchased. There is plans to build a storage pond there.
Yeah.
And and that will store the treated effluent until the ground conditions are suitable enough to dispose of it. Over the wet months, the autumn, winter, and then early spring, the ground conditions, the moisture content of the soil is too high for the treated effluent to be irrigated, so it has to be stored. So that at this moment is proposed. Well, one option is it's proposed that storage on to be on that 75 hectare land that the council has recently purchased. So I think I was just a bit confused by terminology lagoon in that paragraph. I've never seen it termed as a lagoon before.
If we could swim in a lagoon, surely.
You could put dogs in for swimming dogs there.
No, it's the current pond.
So the storage
Yeah.
pond.
No, it's the facultative. It's the facultative pond.
Yeah. So, but
Just change the lagoon for facultative pond and you've got it.
fine, that'll solve that problem. And that's where the new biofilter.
Yeah, well, that's the biofilters and tanks, isn't it? And
I guess my point is I just would like to clarify the word pollution, because pollution can suggest many things, where what we're trying to fix is nitrogen.
There's nitrogen out of the treated effluent.
And then we will make consent.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, like,
And
come on.
And the other issue is, people saying that the river is polluted. Well, the only reason that the wastewater treatment plant disposes treated effluent into the river is very, very infrequently and during high flows of water. So we're not polluting the river. In years gone by, there have been some overflows through treatment plant failures, but we're not polluting the river at the moment.
well, we're still putting in 100 parts per million of E. coli, even after the biofilters in, and the UV is working better because the water is slightly or is more is clearer than it has been in the past. But still, it's treated, but it's still not. It meets the resource consent. The resource consent level is 100 parts. But it's not clean. It's still dirty, but it's not. But it meets the resource consent levels set down by the Greater Wellington Regional Council. But that's not the same as say that it's well, potable water would be clean, wouldn't it? Well, it's a hell of a long way away from that. But why are we?
I just,
You don't like the word pollution. Well, we're still putting
nitrogen, like for what the issue is.
nitrates will be reduced.
Will be reduced to within, so we can make consent.
The limit set by
30 milligrams per litre. But also, like, we've got to stand back here and like the water without the towns. I just think it's too like we're going to be meeting consent by doing these things.
Yeah.
And
consent allows you to put water at a certain level with a certain level of contamination in it, out of the system.
So it's treated effluent, James.
Yeah.
It goes through a process that the consent process allows it to be disposed
Yeah, that's
into the environment, whether it's onto land or into a river. No one around this table can say or can put their hand up and say, well, you probably can put your hand up and say, we demand that it be treated to a higher level, but then to go through that whole process, that's going to incur a huge amount of cost. And even why do we need to go down that path? Because the consent that we already have allows us to dispose of trees at effluent, whether it's onto the land or into the river, and an extreme.
You're arguing with yourself. I haven't. What is the issue? I mean, the issue is that it's meeting, it hasn't met the Greater Wellington Regional Council consent levels for dispersal for forever.
The nitrogen.
No,
It's our last
nitrogen, phosphates and
thing to
chloride.
like everything we've addressed. We're putting hyperbolic screens in. We've followed the engineers to get this done right.
Yeah.
Now we could go further.
I'm agreeing that it's meeting with those consent levels as established by the Greater Wellington Regional Council. So what's the problem?
Well, these.
I had a problem with the word pollution. I wanted to, that's my only problem.
What would you like to replace it with?
With the reason why we're putting the biofilter in.
Reducing nitrogen levels.
I think it's just inflammatory, James, over-inflammatory, already on a
I
sensitive
didn't
topic.
think it was inflammatory at all. I thought it was quite good.
That's just me.
Council.
So, well, okay.
Council's been working really, really hard over a number of years.
Yep.
To improve the situation for Martinborough. And we've gone through a huge process to get to where we're going now and hopefully have that work done by the end of the year. So we are within consent levels because like you say, we haven't been for quite some time. And, but the big goal is to get it so that not only, things improving, but then ultimately we can grow our community.
Well, I said, and meet the set limits. Isn't that exactly what we're doing?
Sorry?
Meet the set limits. And what are the set limits? They are the Greater Wellington Regional Council.
We're using that.
Made the point.
Isn't it just, you can spell it out full. I mean, to say the new biofilters to be installed to reduce the levels of nitrates, phosphates, and what was the other third one?
E. coli.
E. coli. To meet
biofilter
limits.
But the UV doesn't.
That's just all you need to do.
E. coli gets zapped with the UV light. The hyperbolic screens clean it up, and it's the nitrates which are.
I mean, overall, the new
is much better.
Pond will actually put almost 99% of water onto the land as opposed to into the river.
Yep, it will.
Just for clarity through you, Chair, the recommendation is to receive the chairperson's report with the amendment of lagoon to facultated pond and with the amendment of the levels of nitrates, sulfates and E. coli to meet the set limits, removing pollution. Is that the board in agreement?
That's very nice.
Yep.
Can I have a mover and a seconder?
Well,
Aidan and Nana. Thank you.
Right.
moving on.
Yes, moving on as fast as possible. I mean, let's face it, we're very pleased that the new system is being put in place and that we will be meeting the levels as set out in the resource consent.
Yeah.
And we haven't even talked about PFAS yet. Shall we? Oh, we'll leave that to another discussion, shall we? We will. Emergency planning, that's,
You've got your meeting coming up, which is meant to be.
you can do that.
useful. And
Considine Park, that's coming up tomorrow.
Should I just,
And we have,
sorry, can I just clarify? The Considine Users Group is established under what?
there are terms of reference that were written by Mr. Cliff.
Mr. Chris.
Yeah, isn't that right? Well, I think Mr. Cliff, yeah. Ex-CEO of about three or four
CEOs ago.
ago. The only thing, I would point, just
Needs to be used a group. That's a requirement of
The
Considine
request
Park.
to the park.
it has to have one. Yes, and it has to be called by a certain date, and it has to meet at least once a year. But obviously, if it doesn't meet more than that, it's not going to get any work done. And the other thing is that the terms of reference only have that Mr. Chris wrote only have 2 community members on it. All the rest are actually interested parties in terms of leases. But in no community members, 2 community board members. And I've asked Nana if she would when we on the park committee. But in all the in the last sort of 3 or 4 years, they've asked for or pointed out that they needed more community reps, and so we advertised for community representation, and I had 5 people that put their hand up. So I've invited them all because I thought, well, how the hell am I going to determine which ones I shouldn't invite? And seeing they've never had enough community people on it in the past, that's what I've done. So. And the last thing, sorry?
Thank you for that.
Yep. And the last thing is we sent a letter of invitation to the Maori Partnership Committee, and there's a copy of the letter is attached to the back. We needed a rep on the Consalin Park user group. I invited Andrea Rutten to do that, as she has in the past, but she told me it should go to the Partnership Committee, which is right. And we need to work with local iwi in terms of the cycle trail, the walking trail. What's the other? And also we wanted them to be involved in our consultation. So Gillies is arranging a time for the board to meet, for this community board to meet with the partnership. So I would hope that people will. I hope you'll give us a couple of options, and I would hope as many people would attend as possible. Are you happy with that? Okay. And I'll recommend that.
Sorry, Chair. The last point, paragraph J, review of Washington around Martinborough Street.
Oh, right. So this is a member of the community has approached me over the fact that in the winter at night, when she's coming to pick up her kids from the square, playground and so on, it's dark by about 4:30, and the lighting is reduced. And she, I don't know, she has trouble seeing where her kids are running or whatever. She doesn't feel safe walking through the actual middle of the square. The lighting is very dim.
Are the lights on or they're just not?
Wrong.
I think it's because of the dark sky. They have changed.
So all the lights that were installed on the pedestrian crossings from the last 18 months, they had to be dark sky compliant.
Yeah.
But
It's in the square.
Yes, the
pretty dark
inside of the square.
So the lights that are in the ground.
And some are not working.
Do we know that?
Possibly not, because I just walked through the square coming here to this meeting and I thought,
These lights working. It's rather.
I didn't realise they weren't working.
yeah, well, I know 2 of them are still busted from the last storm and haven't been fixed. And I know the light in the centre is not working either. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So lighting
No.
the lighting is quite, I mean, it's dark sky confined, but the lighting is quite dim, or it's different.
It's
But when they changed them, I noticed that in my area that I couldn't actually see people further down the road.
Yep. I mean, that's a requirement.
Yeah.
It's crazy because it doesn't make it safe for people walking or cycling up the footpaths. But Whereas in the past, the street lights that weren't dark sky compliant, I suppose the light, the ball of light from each street would actually generally meet in the gap between the poles. But now it doesn't.
It doesn't spread.
Just to say, Chair, lighting is one of the considerations that the MARG is looking at for the square
I
overall.
don't think we've thought about that specifically though, have we?
It's on their list of things. I had raised the issue in the context, I did notice on Anzac Day, apart from the fact everyone had to carry a torch. Couldn't see anything, including the flag. So.
Is it possible, Janice, to actually turn the lighting up? Or is it completely fixed? The bulbs are fixed.
Lines is dark sky compliant.
It's around the outside, isn't it? But within the square, I'll send you an email because the lighting's just not working.
Right.
Yeah.
So if they're not working, then we need to know.
No,
As part of this, the improvements that we did around the crossings, because they weren't working when I first got in. Last year was-
Martinborough Fairs twice a year, people put pegs into the ground for the marquees and that sort of thing, and that, then they should be putting pegs into the ground, and that impacts and that's some stuff that became.
there's no, I can't see any real solution. I mean, obviously we can fix the lights that are broken.
I think there's a requirement for improved lighting overall.
Okay. Well, so shall we leave that to the mark? We suggest that
Perhaps you could, feed something back to that member of the community saying that it is on, it's been raised with, our council CE. It is also for discussion within the MARG group.
I will.
And you could get some of those nice downlighting, path lighting, sort of close to the ground.
But then you're just asking the vandals to kick them over at that. Yeah.
I think that.
Oh, Martin.
Lighting around the square is a vexed issue. You'll open up yourself to
I did notice.
50.
Yeah.
No. Fix the lighting, but look at lighting options.
Number of years ago, when all the lights were working, the in-ground lights were working really, really well.
Yeah.
There was some clever guys went around town, means this weird with road cones and put road cones.
They look fantastic.
Yeah.
Look very good.
Yeah.
It was sun. And it was.
Best use of road cones from.
Yeah.
I know. Okay. Are we finished? Are we finished the discussion? Yes.
Thank you for your report.
So the chair recommends that the Martinborough Community Board chairperson report was you.
Noted there's a meeting.
Can't. Someone move it.
Yeah.
Someone second it.
Well,
Okay.
Thank you.
I know. Are we closing? Do we have anything else people would like to talk about? We have an informal meeting set down for 2 weeks from now because everything got pushed back. Must it be
Thursday the 9th.
is it the 9th?
Oh, no,
No.
before, sorry. The second. The second,
I think
there's
it's-
no meeting on Thursday, the 25th.
No,
no,
well, because that's next week.
No, it's this week.
yeah,
That's right.
it would have, yeah.
It's normally on a Thursday, isn't it?
Yeah, Thursday the second.
Is it the second?
Yeah, second of July.
Yes. July the 2nd.
So July, this formal meeting.
July the 2nd? Yeah,
Formal.
be here, 7 o'clock. Okay. I'll close, shall I? We'll close with the Karakia. Kua mutu a mātou mahi.
Mua manake pia mai.
Mātou good.
Ua au mai.
Mātou whai.
Au a e au i rau.
Thank you, people.
On time.
So we will need, during the consultation days, we will need some support from various people. So it's Wednesday and Thursday from
July, yep.
in July. Yeah, in the evening. The evenings. And Saturday and Sunday is 9 to 5. I think it'll be fairly informal, but I think there will be discussion.